Josh and Mario claim that organizations like Love in Action can turn gay men straight. My next guests say that that is impossible. Peterson and Steve are two gay men who spent thousands of dollars on reparative therapy and say that the whole thing is nothing but a fraud. Stephen Fels grew up as a sixth-generation Mormon.
In the Mormon world, homosexuality doesn't exist. And so growing up and having these feelings, this same-sex attraction, I didn't know what that was.
He had his first homosexual experience at age 17.
They immediately started putting me into therapy.
Reparative therapy, rules, exercises, and psychological sessions believed to cure a person from their homosexual status.
I went to this warrior training where I was supposed to beef up my masculinity. They blindfolded all of us, and we could hear all this chanting. It was really loud and intense and scary. So they took our blindfolds off, and there was everyone who had ever taken this course standing around, naked, ready to initiate us into this new fellowship of real men.
42-year-old Peterson spent 17 years and over $30,000 in several different reparative therapies.
It was like being in shrink wrap and not being able to break free. And in essence, they saw someone who was broken and vulnerable, and in trying to help and do good, they actually did much more harm. It was a very controlling environment. There were over 200 rules.
Really crazy-making things.
We couldn't work in retail. We weren't allowed to go to malls. There was a whole part of town we couldn't go. It was called the Forbidden Zone.
They would tell you that your problem is because you're not masculine enough.
We often were instructed on how to dress, how to walk, how to sit.
So I'd start lowering my voice and, I stopped, doing anything that might be gay.
And then we would have fairly regular sports activities, playing basketball, football.
We would beat drums.
Changing oil in the car, thinking that those are masculine butch things.
The therapies only seemed to get more and more extreme.
I had an exorcism, a lot of yelling and screaming, and ultimately they wanted me to vomit demons into a bucket. That exorcism actually got broken up by the police.
I ended up writing this letter to my mother at the advice of this major reparative therapist, telling her to stay out of my life so I could be straight. It devastated her.
After countless years and thousands of dollars, both Peterson and Stephen finally realized homosexuality was simply a part of who they are.
I wasn't being honest, and fear kept me in that.
It wasn't that I came out of the closet, I simply came to my senses. So what if I just accept myself for who I am? What happens then?
So Peterson, you say that you finally just came to your senses. So when you were, well, you are gay, but before the reparative therapy, before that, did you hate yourself?
Yeah, there were 2 weeks of my life. I was a married man. I was constantly failing. Even if I wasn't having sex with other men, I couldn't have sex with my wife without thinking of men.
That's what I was asking the other guys earlier.
I thought, this is so cruel to do to her. I'm with her, but I'm with somebody else. And so there came this point where I thought, I have 2 options. Go off and live a horrible gay lifestyle, get AIDS, and go to hell, because that's the template I was given, or else jump in front of the subway.
Okay, and then jumping in front of the subway, so you call it, is going to the group. And Stephen, you were a spokesperson for the program for some time. Not Love in Action, but a different program.
Well, I did therapy with about 6 different therapists and different times. At one point, they asked me to be on a panel, at this conference where, a lot of ex-gays come and try to find support. And I felt like, I was asked to do that, and I was lying inside, so I had to decline that. I think they're trying to say that, I think, sexual addiction and sexual orientation are not the same thing.
Okay, that's a good point. Okay, I know that you said there were certain things that happened at Love in Action, that there was something bizarre about the mock funeral. What is that?
Yeah, we had a mock funeral
once. And I'm glad
once.
you guys are here to be able to defend yourselves or say, yes, this happened, or no, it didn't.
We had a mock funeral once. It was a young man, and he was having troubles in the program, and so they had a funeral for him where he was laid out on a table, and we stood around him and talked about his life and how sad it was that he didn't follow the right way, and this is the possible consequence if something like this could happen. If you don't go the right way. you know, this is
Okay.
the potential.
Well, John Smith is with us now, the head of Love in Action. What do you have to say to the things that they're saying? Do you do the mock funerals and things like that?
Well, one time we did talk with a young man, as he said, looking at the potential consequence of unhealthy behaviors and addictive behaviors that could bring him to the place of death.
And so you did the mock funeral. Okay. Are there anything that you guys do differently now because of reparative therapy? Are you more masculine? Do you like football? Do you not wear pink?
Well, I could speak really low if I need to. I'm still gay. After all the time and money and energy that I spent in reparative therapy, I still had to fantasize about a man to perform with my wife. And I think it takes a terrible toll on the women.
What about you?
For me, what's
Peterson?
different, I'm much more sensitive to women because the sort of treatment I got in the church as a feminized man is what many women experience, the glass ceiling. You know, and someone like John Smith, who has a heart to serve God, he really can't serve in a normal church because they don't want an ex-gay minister. They don't trust us, ex-gay or gay.
Okay, we'll be right back.